This video is coming out so much later than I would... Oh, smack that. It's coming out so much later than I would have liked it to, because the most irritating thing is I have recorded this once. I looked at the footage and for some odd reason my OBS started fucking up, so I had to change so much stuff in my OBS settings because it was all laggy, and I actually really liked what I recorded. And I know for some people, or for a lot of people, this is just me sitting here ranting about a series and stuff like that, and how hard can it be to just do that again? I am doing it right now, so, and I'm not saying it's hard, but sometimes when you record something you just feel like you hit the spot, and that's what I really thought. And then I looked at the recording and it didn't record normally, and I was just so like, are you serious? So we're trying again now, and of course you seem to really enjoy the first one I did of this, where I talked about the first season of The Walking Dead. So today we're talking about the second season, and do I have stuff to talk to you about this season? Even though these are like off the top of my head and off the cuff, I would like to say there's a little more structure to this video, and I think there will be from now on, just to have, you know, something to look forward to in the video, so I'm just not sitting here just ranting about stuff, even though that is also what I'm gonna do. But what I'm going to say is, in today's video, we're gonna talk about the good, the bad, we're gonna have a little tier list of the characters, and then we're gonna rate it from 1 to 5 stars, or 0.0 stars to 5 stars, whatever. And I think this season, when it came out, I've heard that a lot of people didn't really like it, but I've also seen that it has kind of aged like fine wine. So I'm looking very forward to telling you what I feel like about this season of The Walking Dead, because as I've said a couple of times now, I have a lot to say about this season, because I fucking love this season. This season is my favorite season, and I've watched 4 seasons now, and yes, I will do on 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10 and 11. Is that not how many seasons there is? And if you enjoy all that, we could do all the side stuff, like, you know, what is it called? The sub seasons. I can't remember what it's called. But okay, let's get into the good, because I've written some notes on screen and I want to get through them about what's good. So this is particularly, there's a lot of good stuff and bad stuff, but this is what I have found to be the good that I really do remember in my brain. So the first thing is that Sophia going missing is a great way to get the plot moving, like just early on. And I know that a lot of people still to this day feel like the Sophia going missing and the group trying to find her is something that is dragged out, but I feel like it's so realistic to really try and find this girl. And I know in a world where there's zombies, you could say that, okay, you give it a couple of days and then it's not it, but really do try and put yourself in a situation where you've lost a little girl and the little girl's mother is literally in the group. Like you would also want to put a good amount of time and effort into finding this girl, and I just feel like this is such a good way of getting the plot moving, and it's also a great way to get the characters that spit, as always. That's just a given in these videos, and it's such a good way to have the characters that is really wanting to find her put it up against the characters that really like just wants to move on after a little bit, that being Shane mainly. And I think that's a good way to do it, and I really do like it. And then we of course get to the point where we are at Herschel's farm, and here I've said that Carl getting shot was a wild surprise for me. Like, I have watched, since I've like living in an era, is what I want to say, where shorts and, like, you know, videos on the internet is so like something I consume a lot, or have consumed a lot. I'm trying to dumb down a little bit, but I love series, I love movies, and I've gotten a lot of clips on my feed from The Walking Dead. I know a lot of stuff that has happened and will happen in The Walking Dead, even though I haven't seen it myself. I do know a lot of stuff that will happen, but something I did not have a clue on is the fact that Carl will get shot in this season. And just saying it out loud is actually pretty crazy. Like, he's a little child, and that scene where he gets shot with Shane and Rick just watching there with like in awe, and then all of a sudden he just gets shot, in insane wild surprise, and it really took me by a storm. And like, I was so into it, not into, you know what I mean, like that got me into this season, and it really got me, like, my eyes was glued to the screen. Another good thing I liked was Maggie and Glenn's relationship. I don't really have a lot to say on that, but I love Maggie and I love Glenn, so of course them have their little thing is something I do feel like everyone likes. That's something that everyone loves. I think there's very few people that have seen The Walking Dead that doesn't like Glenn and Maggie together, so that was a good thing. And now we move ahead, and I want to talk about the barn scene. At this point, a lot of stuff has happened in the season, and that's also something I've seen not that many people like about the season, is that it feels like it's dragged out, at least with the Sophia thing and just everything happening. But I love it, man. I feel like people are so condensed into like maybe watching a series that are good, where stuff is happening every single episode, and it plot is moving so fast, and they love it, and it's fine. I do too. But I feel like this season, just it felt like everything came together in some way. Like things didn't happen too fast. I do believe that when it's done right, I love when things are going slow, because then I feel like it's way more realistic than when things are just happening too fast. But when it's done wrong, I do also find it very, very boring. But I think in this season, it was so good. But now, the barn episode, I've just written the barn episode is fucking cinema, because that shit is fucking cinema. When that barn episode hit, I was, wow. Like, I didn't know where Sophia was. That was not a thing I've seen a clip of on my shorts feed or in my Instagram reels or anything. I had no clue where she was. So I was glued to the screen to find out where she was. And when she was in that barn, by golly, I was blown away in shock. I could not believe what I was seeing. And just Shane, this is a little thing over to Shane, but the good I've written in this season has a lot to do with Shane. I love absolutely everything about Shane's character in this season. I think he's an astonishing character, and I don't know if this is a hot take, but I do agree with Shane a lot of the times when he's arguing with other characters. I do not like his approach, and I do know that that's a lot of what people are saying is Shane is a character that is the epitomizing. He's the Shane, like he, that old say, or that saying where you say that it's not what you say is how you say it. That's Shane in a nutshell, because he's saying stuff that makes sense, but he's just saying it in a way where it's coming off so rude and so in your face that you just don't really like him because of it. But man, I love him as a character. He is without a doubt the most, like, my favorite character in this season, and probably in the whole series, still up to, like, I am at season 5 now, and he's still my favorite character that has been in this series. He's so complex, and I really do like him. I do like him. He has the most iconic scenes in this season, and his whole thing with Dale, which is a character I really do like as well. His whole thing with him going back and forth, where I feel like people can both see Dale's points, but you can also see what Shane is saying, like, is true, and it's just like they're up against each other, and I fucking love it. Like, I really do like it. But I also feel like there's a big misunderstanding with Shane, and this I really do have to explain in a way where people can understand me, because I know this will probably have a lot of people confused, to say the least. A lot of people on the internet is saying that Shane was ready for this world or this apocalypse before everybody else were, and that's what gets him killed. And they're also saying that Shane is what Rick eventually becomes, and I am not entirely agreeing with that actually at all, to be honest with you. And that is not to say that is not completely wrong, but it's not completely true either. And hear me out here. I think Shane was ready to do the things that had to be done to survive. Like he was ready to, like, he knew what he had to do. He knew what he had to do, and he did also do them. But Shane was not ready or in shape in any way to live with what he was doing. It's so hard to explain, but when Shane does something he knows is bad to survive, he can do it, and he knows that that's what he has to do, but he cannot live with it. And that is a big thing. Like, that's eventually what I see as getting him killed, because what he cannot live with in this season is, of course, the whole being with Laurie thing and all of that, but it's also the fact that he killed Otis, and he kind of killed an innocent man right there to survive himself, and he couldn't live with it. It's tearing away at him through the season. And yes, I know a lot of people will say what is really tearing at him is the whole Laurie and Rick thing, but I do think you're playing it down how much it also tears at him, the whole thing with Otis. And what you kind of learn about Shane is he cannot live with his decisions. He cannot live with it, and a lot of people will say all around the internet when Shane is brought up that they would love to see him in the later seasons, and he would be such a cool dude to have there. But I truly do believe, and he's my favorite character, I would need to remind you when saying this, Shane is my favorite character in this series up till now, and I don't believe he would have survived, because he would have to have made so many tough decisions that he just couldn't live with, and his head would be so all over the place that I just cannot see that guy surviving that long. And I know a lot of people will probably disagree with me, but truly try and see how fucked up he became by the end of the season because of the things he had done, and just imagine all the things he would have to have done to survive up to like season 11, man. Like he couldn't live with any of that. Like he's way too he's such an emotional character, and that's also why I love him, but he's such an emotional character, and he wouldn't be able to stand. Like that's my 2 cents on him. I've talked about him for a long time, but I love his character and how he is played, how John Bernthal can say it, how he plays that character is supreme. I love it. So another thing that's good to not talk about Shane too much is Herschel is of course also a new great addition. He is a grounded man for the group, and he is like the older man and kind of sees Rick in the later seasons, where I am not gonna talk too much about this, but I think in the later seasons he's kind of like a father figure to Rick in some way. Like, you know, he trusts Rick to take the right decisions, and they talk about a lot, and I like it. I like Herschel, and he of course has to have the rude awakening where he is basically like seeing that the zombies are not humans anymore and they cannot be saved, and all that plot line is of course also a little sad. I think it's played a little bit down because you don't really feel his sadness. Maybe they could have done something else. Like, I feel what I'm trying to say is when his whole family is getting shot right in front of him by Shane, I don't really feel Herschel's sadness, but that is of course because I know that the zombies cannot be saved. But maybe they could have done something else so that hits us a little bit more, but I don't know. So another thing I do like is I still like Andrea, and I know I'm probably the only person out there that still does this to this point, but when she was on screen, I did like it. Calm down now. I did like her, and I felt like she was interesting. I think like I almost like everyone in the group. I think everyone does something for the group, and I think a lot of reason that people don't like Andrea in the season is because they've read the comics, which I do like have huge respect for, and I have not done that. Maybe I should, but I do know that Andrea is a lot tougher and a lot like cooler in the comics, so that's probably why they don't like Andrea in the TV series, and I do get it. So yeah, that's fine. And then we come to very late in the season, actually towards the end, where the whole Randall things starts happening, and I do really like that plot because that really pushes the characters against each other, and that's what eventually leads to Shane and Rick's face-off. And of course, as anybody that like sees The Walking Dead, I love Rick. I do like Rick and like how he's played. I love him as well, but I'm all on. Like I love Shane. I like Rick, but I love Shane. So I know he had but I still know that Shane had to die. I know it, and the way it was executed was perfect in my opinion. I know he had to die. He was so off. Like he was losing it big time, and yeah. And a little thing. So what I read was good was just the whole face-off and the whole Rick versus Shane and the way Shane died and that he had to die. I am completely agreeing with what they did, and I love it. I like how it was executed. And the last good thing I've written down is, of course, this season is where Daryl is beginning to become a likable character. And yeah, just because of how he tries to find Sophia, like he really is trying to find her. And this is just a season where he becomes way more likable. And yeah, you can only love Daryl. And of course, now having seen season 3 and 4, knowing how much of a vital character he literally becomes the main character at one point. So yeah, this is where I feel like his character is really starting to blossom. So yeah, now to the bad. I will say, and this will come up, like this will be a thing in reviews like from now and to end of time, but I have a very hard time trying to see a bad in something when I am gripped by it, if that makes sense. So I love this season of The Walking Dead and The Walking Dead in general, and when I do, I have a very hard time seeing the weaker sides of it or seeing what's bad. So I want to say that there's probably a lot of stuff missing, but I feel like I still got at least one major thing that I think is so bad, and yeah, I hate it. Laurie is awful in this season and just in this series in general. If you ask me, I am not emotionally or anything invested in her character, and I feel like she is just an antagonist. There's so many times where she's kind of egging Shane and Rick against each other, like almost on purpose it feels like, and she just takes so many has so many weird decisions, and I know this could be, but she is realistic, and maybe she is, but she's just a fucking idiot so many times. I could not care, and what she does in, I think, season 3, I don't even care about it. I cannot say it because maybe at season 4 I've just seen it when they see this video, so I don't want to say. But when something bad is happening to her, or she is sad or anything, I just don't feel for her at all, because it's most of the time just a situation she's put herself in. So yeah, I just do not like her at all in this whole series. I did not like her in season 1. I do not like her in season 2 as well. She is awful, and I don't like her. And another thing with that is I do not like the way the pregnant reveal came into play, and the way that she has been with Shane. The whole reveal to Rick is so underwhelming, because the biggest thing for me in the first season, or one of top 3 at least, the biggest things for me was that Rick or that Shane and Laurie had slept together when the apocalypse started. That was such a big thing. That was such a thing that I feel like when you watch the first season, you just wait for Rick to find out, and when he eventually finds out in this season, it's just so underwhelming. It's like he just says he knows, and I can't even remember what he does after that. I feel like that should have been such an iconic scene, and it just wasn't. He just, I know, and yeah, it's fine. And I was like, okay, nice. I just invested so much into looking forward to that being revealed, and I don't know what I really looked like. I don't know what I wanted to happen. Like, I'm not a writer, of course. I'm just a random guy talking to you on the internet about it, but I feel like that could have been done a lot smoother and a lot better, in my opinion. So that was a bit of a letdown. Yeah. So here we are making a characters tier list of season 2 as promised. So what we have here is tiers going from, oh my god, love you, not gonna lie, would defo invite you to dinner, you were just there and that's fine, you kinda piss me off, and Laurie. I guess you can kinda figure out who's gonna go there. So let's get straight into this. I'm just gonna go with how this was set up. So we're gonna start with Rick. Brother, I have not talked too much about Rick, but of course we do love Rick. Everything about everything about Rick is of course non-negotiable. We love him, and we will always love that guy. He is literally the main man of this series. Then we have Andrea, and this is a hot take. I know this is a very, very hot take, but listen, she almost killed Daryl. So maybe that gets her tier down, because he almost shot him in the face. But I will still invite her to dinner, and I know that's probably the hottest take. I'm not only doing this for hot takes. Like I do like her character. I like what she's going through. I think is very not relatable, but I do get where she's coming from a lot of the times. And yeah, there's probably something I miss about her that is why people don't like her, and something that I would not like her for either. But me, when I think back, I did like her. So next up is Carol. Carol in this season is still not, the Carol that we know in later seasons. And to me, is of course a big reason that we are searching so long for Sophia. And that's of course a thing I said was good. But I still think she was just there. And that's still so fine. She's fine in this season, but she's just, she's just there. And yeah, that's fine. Next up is Daryl. Would invite Daryl to dinner. He's cool. He is really coming his own this season. You can see his good sides, and I love that about him. Then we have Carl. I think Carl is actually pissing me off a little bit this season when I think back about it. Of course, he got shot, so I cannot really blame him for being a little bit inactive in the first couple episodes. But when he starts being okay again, he starts going out, he starts having a gun, and he starts when I say going out, he starts going out without telling anybody and stuff like that. So don't get me wrong, I love Carl. In the grand scheme of things, I care about him, but in this season he actually kind of maybe pissed me off a little bit, because he made more problems than good. So yeah, he did kill Zombie Shane before he got to Rick, so that's cool, but he actually did kind of maybe piss me off a little bit this season. So then we have Herschel, and like Herschel, I would like to invite him to dinner. I do see where he's coming from. It's his farm, and he's still kind of blurry with the whole zombie thing and how it works, but when he understands and learns, he has a tough time, but I do get where he's coming from, and I do like him. Laurie, going straight into Laurie section, she's the antagonist of this season. She is the stupidest character in the cast, and in this season, and yeah, she deserves a place on her own, because she is awful in my opinion. Then we got Maggie. I actually think I love Maggie. I cannot say a single bad word about Maggie, and I do love her. I think she is a cool character. She's such a great addition to the show, and she just becomes, spoiler alert, so much better in 3 and 4, and I could only like see her becoming a better character down the line. So I do absolutely love her as a character. Then we got Shane. Shane is my favorite character in this season and in the whole series, so he is gonna go top of this. Not all of this is like the right way. Like if I was to do these, I would probably say Herschel is top, then Daryl, and then Andrea. I can still see where like the hate for Andrea comes from, but yeah. Then we got Dale, and I will probably slot Dale straight into like, I would probably put him here because a lot of what Dale is saying, I do get like the thing in the house where he is the only one trying to be a little bit human about Randall, about like if we're gonna kill him or if we're gonna set him free. He's such a sweet character. He's just living in the wrong like era. Like he was doomed to die. The way he dies is a little bit sad, but he was kind of doomed because he was just not made for this at all. Then we got Sophia. This is a little sad, but she kind of did piss me off, and she will be the least here because the reason she pissed me off is because Rick says to her, "Stay here, I will come back for you," or something like that. I do believe he did. And she literally, I feel like in the next scene, runs off. Like, I do get she's a kid, but come on now, dog. Come on now. Then we got T-Dog. T-Dog is just there, and that's fine. He is behind Carol because Carol, of course, has still a big like thing in the season because she literally lost her daughter. So T-Dog still kind of there. Is this the season where he gets his arm split open and stuff? He doesn't really have too much to do, so that's fine. The same with Beth. I cannot remember a single thing about Beth in this season. So yeah, I am gonna put her there. She didn't piss me off, but she didn't like do anything great either. And then we got Lynn. I loved Lynn. I loved Lynn more than Maggie. This is my list of the season 2. Like how they were in season 2, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little tier list thing. Back to you doing the stars in the next clip. So now to the star rating. This is where I just quickly give stars from 1 to 5, and I think you should not take this too seriously because things over here can get 5 stars if I enjoy it. This is based on my enjoyment and how I feel like. And as said a couple times in this video, I am at season 5 now. I've not seen season 5. I'm about to start it, and when I've made these videos. So what I want to say is this season gets 5 out of 5 stars. And I know a lot of you will be like, what the fuck? Listen, this is not like that deep. Things over here will get 5 stars. I think a lot of people when they rate stuff say that you can never get something perfect, and this is not because this season is perfect, but this is rated out of my enjoyment, and when I watched this I was glued to the screen, so that's why it gets a 5 star. And I love this season. It felt special, which I say in the first video. If you haven't seen, I really do want to like egg you on to see the first video I made of The Walking Dead, because that's about the first season. And in that, I said that I really did like that season, but it didn't feel special. But when I watched this, it felt special, and that's why it gets a 5 out of 5 stars. It felt so special, and it is hands down my favorite season of the show of what I've seen. So that's why I've given it that. If you watch this all the way through to this point, please like and subscribe if you enjoyed, or if you want to, you can always take it back. I love when people are commenting whatever. It can be something about the show, something you want to see on the channel, something you want me to do. And in the future, when I've done some of these videos on The Walking Dead, I would really like to play the game The Walking Dead, you know, with Lee and Clementine, stuff for the channel, because I've played it before in my free time, but I never played it, like finished the whole story, like all the games, and I would love to do that on the channel, because I would also love to do a little bit of gaming on the channel. And I know, gaming channel, again, there's too many of those, but I get it, but it's still something I really would like to do. And yeah, I hope you liked the video, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.